Okay, we are now at business justification, and we've said that one part of it is a part of Scrum aspect, and we said what Scrum tend to value is the purpose of use of whatever product or whatever project that is being engaged. Now, at the initial stage, this will be assessed by the BA, business analyst, to find out if there's an appropriate justification for the ongoing project, for the project to start or the product to start. So here is also another aspect that is very important in Scrum. It says it is important for an organization to perform a proper business assessment prior to the starting of a project or a product. This helps key decision makers understand the business need for a change or for a new product or service, the justification for moving forward with the project or its viability. You need to find out, I did use this example of the road construction of 100 kilometers, whether it's exactly what I mentioned, but a longer kilometers, then being proposed to say this is a budget that will be expended for that project. But there was no assessment to be done that, okay, this amount is not on ground, what can we do? And at the end of the day, a surety job is ongoing, will be started, and then the construction will just be hot, and then nothing will go ahead. If that is done initially, you will have considered, okay, this is what we can achieve with this period, and then we can go ahead. So that justification will be given that, okay, based on what is available, this is what we're able to achieve. And then the purpose, which is value-driven delivery, will be achieved. So since value is a primary reason for an organization to move forward, with a project or product, value-driven delivery must be the main focus. And that's the main focus. That's the business justification. That's the main focus. Scrum facilitates delivery of value very early in the project and continue to do so throughout the project lifecycle. What do you mean by very early? As in, once assessment is done by the BA, it will guarantee some level of value that will have been taking place, that we can preempt to say, oh, we should expect this at this period of time. And this is by this time, this is what will be released, or this is what will be used by the user, depending on the level of delivery we're talking about. So, business justification in Scrum is based on concept of value delivery, which I mentioned, delivery. Take note of that statement. You'll see it in one of the tests of move forward. One of the key characteristics of the project is uncertainties of results and outcome. Just like the instance of the road construction. We've just had to propose, a budget is budget, and most times government budgets are proposed budget. Not that they have the amount. Once they propose it, they'll still be looking for where to borrow or how to raise the income in terms of revenue. And then if peradventure a crisis happens, like what is happening in Russia, it affects the expected revenue. At the end of the day, we can call that to say that the project that has been scheduled for that period, uncertainty will take place. Similarly, it happened to when we had COVID. So many things that were proposed for the year were unable to meet it, both for corporate and both for government, both for individuals too. So uncertainty came in, and that's why you see that Scrum deliberately is being created at this time of business of where the world is going through uncertainties in general situation. It is impossible to guarantee project success at the completion, irrespective of the size or complexity of the project. Considering these uncertainties of achieving success, Scrum attempts to start delivering results as early in the project as possible. This early delivery of results and thereby value provides an opportunity for reinvestment and prove the worth of the project to interested stakeholders. So once you have discovered, okay, fine, we see a case of Nigeria. Once we discover, okay, we can't meet up to this now. you now say, okay, who can invest into this business? And if I take this to into we that we are small business owners, it's being said to us that we should do a SWOT analysis and do a calculation of our business beforehand before we start the business. And the essence is that so that we can even know whether it's this business we have the capacity for it, or maybe you need to go and look for investors, or you need to look for a partner, and that's what is also being addressed here. So value delivery. In order to provide value delivery, it is important to understand what add value to a customer and users, and to prioritize high value requirements on top of prioritized product backlog. What add value to the customers and users, and to prioritize the high value requirement. In some of our case studies, we will see website is generally what is being used. I mean, the case study has been used in this material, but I will tell you, it's not only on website creation, but its website is the case study that's being used here, because all of us understand websites, even though we cannot design website, but we use websites. Now, you will see case studies of different user stories, and the way some of those case studies are rated based on high value requirements. In terms of, despite we're going to create a website, what are the first instance usage that what first instance functionalities that we have to consider in our website creation? You'll see that in our in the case studies that we're going to be taking further. And there are also techniques that will be used to rate these high value requirements. It's not an assumption. It's not something that is speculated. It has to be valued. Let me use that word. I won't say calculated, so don't think there will be sort of a sense of. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't say there's a sense of one calculus system that will be taking place. No, it has to be valued also. So when we get there, you'll be able to see that. Decrease uncertainties and constantly address risks that can potentially decrease value if they materialize. Now, uncertainties cannot be removed, but we have to be able to reduce it. And risks also will also occur. So also later on, we'll understand how to deal with risks and the process and steps in dealing with risks. We'll also talk about that. Work closely with the project stakeholders, showing them product increments at end of each sprint, enabling effective management of change. Why are we showing them at end of each sprint? Once we have agreed with the stakeholders as regards what deliverables will be considered during this sprint, during this first sprint, at the end of that sprint, we are showcasing to them. And we're asking, are we good to go? Oh, we think there should be some modal, what do you call this word? Updates, or probably some changes that need to be put in place before we move to the next sprint. That is fresh and are agreed with and considered with. Create deliverables based on prioritized, determined by producing potential shippable products increment during each sprint, so that customers start realizing value early in the project. Now, when I say customers start realizing value, not the end user, because a project that is ongoing, we're not talking about the persons that will be either paid customers or unpaid customers. We're talking about the sponsors, the owners of the project can see value for it. So this diagram we have here just showcases the difference between value-driven delivery, which is Scrum, compared to traditional project management. When you look at one now, one says on the first box on the left hand ankle says prioritize requirements based on business value delivered to customers and users. Then the other one says no prioritization of requirement based on business value. 2 says manage risks and changes better by allowing stakeholders to reprioritize after every sprint. Just like that common diagram we started with that shows value-driven delivery from y-axis to the end of x-axis. Freeze requirement for entire projects. Regular changes are discouraged. And the third one says realize value quickly by creating shippable products increment at end of the sprint. Value realized at the end of the sprint, at the end of the project, no requirement, no incremental deliverables produced. That's just showing the difference of the two. So when we're looking at value justification and the project life cycle, there are 3 captures of business justification we have to look at: assess and present a business case, continuous value justification, and confirm benefit realization. So these are the process that takes place in the entire project life cycle. You know, we said to you earlier that you have to assess the business, do a business assessment to find out whether the owners of the project or the project being captured, it's meeting the right required value in terms of what is expected. And they design a business case that shows a vision statement of the business or the project, sorry, the product or the project you want to do. You have to now later on, you have to have a way of testing value continuously. And at the end of the day, confirm if value is being realized at the end of the sprint. So let's find out if we've understood. This time you can talk back to me. We can now find out if we can move ahead. Which of the following statement is not true with regards to Scrum framework? So let's use as attendance was received this morning. Mr. Shola?
Okay, from the option, when we look at the business justification, it's focused more on value. So the A says user requirements are prioritized based on their business value. So that one is correct. The product owner should not follow a change control procedure to make any change to the prioritized backlog items in the prioritized product backlog. C said business value is delivered incrementally, yes. D said deliverables are created on the basis of the business value that they provide. The only odd one is that B, because the other 3 talks about value.
Thank you very much. The only odd one, not that the statement is wrong, but the only odd one. That's just a trick to the exam. The only odd one. Thank you. So let's move ahead now. Who among the following is responsible for assessing business justification? Henry.
The product owner.
Thank you very much. The product owner assesses business justification. How does the product owner assess business justification?
Is that another question for me?
Yeah, another question.
I think the justified business justification based on the value delivery. I think.
Yes, there's a word. There's a technical word I want you to use. Bumi, can you help? There's a technical word I'm looking for.
Technical word.
Yeah. There's a checklist word that the business owner holds on. There's a word that determines the checklist.
Would that be the business case?
Huh?
The business case?
Anybody can help. Bumi, I've called you. Mr. Shola, can you help? There's a word I'm looking for.
The product owner, I want to believe they are the they are supposed to oversee the activities of the Scrum Master. So the product owner is responsible for the assessment of the business justification.
How? With a particular word. There's a template that the product owner use in communication with the Scrum team. And if the Scrum team are able to meet that particular template, they can move ahead. So there's a word for that template.
Sandbox.
What do you call it?
Sandbox.
Huh? Wait, I can't hear you.
She said time boxing or something.
No, please now. Bumi, time box is the deadline now. It's not even used. The product owner doesn't have business with deadline. It's the Scrum team that maintain deadline, and then it's the person who facilitates deadline is the Scrum Master. What is acceptable criteria?
Okay, acceptable criteria.
Yeah, acceptable criteria is what the business owner is holding, and the development team are meeting that checklist, and that checklist also will guarantee business justification, because the owners of business justification is the customer. They are the beneficiaries of business justification, and then the product owner can only guarantee that business justification on their behalf through the acceptable criteria, because it's the product owner that owns the acceptable criteria.
This acceptable criteria, does it has to do with comparison with the user stories?
No. Hold on. I have to take you very far in this slide now, because so that you can see what I'm talking about. So that I wanted to think there today. Far. So hold on. Okay. Look at what we have here now. This is a website creation and a case study, and this is sprint 1. Sprint 1, the duration can be between 1 to 6 weeks. Now you've seen secure protocol, create unique user profile with payment information, browse whole catalog, browse using filters. Now these are user stories for that website creation. Are you getting me now?
Yes.
Now, to now demonstrate acceptable criteria to you, I just decided to show you that now. Now look at some example here that will show you some examples of acceptable criteria related to user stories that you can relate to. We are supposed meant to get to this, but let me take you back here now. Okay, I like this example now. The first one you see there is Epic 2. Epic, it's a storyboard. User story is part of Epic. It's taken out of Epic. Now, later you understand what I mean by Epic when I read this example for you. As a user, David, I should be able to make purchases online so that I could make purchase without going to the store. That's a story. I mean, that's a narrative of user David. Now, to make it more taxable, user story says, as a customer, I should be able to use different online payments modes so that I could choose whichever mode is convenient for me. That can be related with, right, Mr. Shola, compared to the first one. Now, the acceptable criteria to that statement is what? The payment gateway should allow payments through credit card, which combines Visa, MasterCard, American Express, debit card, and PayPal.
Okay, I understand now.
You understand now? So
yes,
the development team now, for them to say they have met the user story requirement based on business justification, they must create a payment gateway that accepts Visa, MasterCard. So that is the checklist that the product owner will be using, looking. Now, this statement is given to the product owner, agreed with by the sponsor or the stakeholder. You are aware, most website creation, developers most times do whatever they feel is right. They don't care about your end users friendly use or benefits. They just know Glow is doing this. I think MTN should do the same thing. Telephone should do the same thing. But the sponsors are telling them this is what we want. Now we are saying that they are not saying that on such environments, we need to have a product owner that will communicate our requirements. And we have a a Scrum Master that will make sure that the Scrum framework is met properly. So such industry have the two. So the product owner is looking at this, while the Scrum Master is looking at Scrum functionality separately. These are customer requirements, which is the voice of the customer. You can say on that same criteria now. User story. As a customer, I should be able to see all items and total bill in shopping carts so that I know how much I need to pay before going to the payment page. At least we shop on Jumia. You see that kind of statement now. Now, acceptance criteria, the shopping cart should have a summation of total bill.
Okay.
We have the same system on our site, Center for Learning. Do you get what acceptance criteria means now?
Yes.
So let's go back. Sorry, this is meant to be the hand part that's more interactive because of what you know. I only heard Mr. Shola's voice. So Henry, I didn't hear your voice. Bumi, I didn't hear your voice.
Yes, I understand it. But what I get, it's a process. It has an epic, and then you write the user story, which is the business analyst. Then final document is the acceptance criteria, which the Scrum team have to work with. Am I right?
Yes. So that's acceptance criteria that makes it different. Acceptance criteria that is being respected is what is not available in the traditional project management. And if you watch is most developers, as well from the ones that Mr. Shola read computer science now, it is waterfall they taught them in school. So they don't understand that whatever project you are being given, you need to consider the customers, the owners of the project, so they can meet what they are doing. So don't just go straight to the end. So this makes us to when we're going through this, it makes the development team to meet value rather than just wasting time.
But sorry, in the waterfall, like an analyst actually does the business requirement document, the BRD.
Before the project.
Before the project. Are you saying that this is not a holistic document that the project works with, or they go ahead to do what they like?
No. What I meant is that analyst does general assessment of the project.
Yes.
Now, he can also do the assessment of the project relating to business education. I mean, whatever. Okay, look, you have considered. Okay, for this project now, we need social numbers of data and the social demography of customers that will be used for this project or this product. Now, in value demography as a goal now, you can do it, you can now, business education cannot be considered to say, are we going to focus majorly on female demography? I mean, I think what we are doing is that the main beneficiaries. So you are not just going to say, let's focus on all demography. You're not joining business education to that. The purpose of our business, the beneficiaries are what? Females. So let me now tie this into my analyst information by saying females should be, whatever we design, whatever we are designing should be in line with female requirements.
So it's more detailed and concise. Yes,
it should be more detailed and concise. That's it. Mr. Ahmed is it Musa Usman? Yeah. Is here? Yeah. Please, you are just joining, so we can't take the rest back. So you can just introduce yourself, where you work, what you do, and your name, please.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Usman Ahmed. Yeah, I'm a performance specialist, network performance specialist. I work with IHS Towers in Lagos. I'm into performance analysis and optimization. I'm interested in data analysis, data visualization, and optimizing the network. So basically, that's just what I do for a living. And also, I'm into business. I have a business I do on my own also. So that's just all I can say. I'm married.
And
I'm open to meeting, open to meeting new friends.
Yeah, thank you. So as we progress,
You're welcome.
We have Mr. Shola here.
Thank
we have Henry Ogun here. We have Bumi here. So as we progress, you'll be hearing, because of time, they'll be introducing themselves furthermore as we progress. So let's just move on. So we've done this. Okay, let's look at this question here. You will not say a question like this in the exam. There are no theory questions. There are no essay questions. All multiple choice. You have spent 50% of your project budget. And then your assessment shows that the project no longer has a business justification. What should you do in such a case? Bumi? Well, let's take it back first. Mr. Shola, you are a government staff, and I'm sure this might be related to your environment. Can you help us with some scenario that seems like this, and then tell us how you guys solve it?
Okay, after you have spent 50% of your project budget, and then your assessment shows that the project no longer has a business justification, what should you do in such a case? If you come across this kind of scenario in government setting, it will not be viable to continue, because if it does not have business justification, then spending the remaining 50% will be a waste. So maybe there should be a way around it, because even the management will not want to listen to you, because at the beginning, as a project manager, you should have been able to look at the business value before you even continue. So it's a very dicey one. That's why you see most projects are not completed. They just died halfway, because at the long run, you discover that there is no justification for continuing. So I'm just looking at it from my own perspective. What may likely happen?
Omi, do you have any comments? Sorry, sorry for taking you off. Do you have any comment? Your network is breaking. It's we can't hear you. Okay, if we cannot hear you, I think Mr. Shola, you have done very well. You've mentioned to us that assessment is needed and necessary before commencing.
Yes.
Yes, this question was given to us so that we can understand the essence of assessment. So we can understand, the job of someone like I know you want to do a BA course. The job of someone like Henry and Ahmed, that is a data person here. Can I understand? These people's job are necessary, are really relevant, and that's why I see that for anyone that is looking for the job of today, data analysis is really, really one of the skill that is needed today, very, very well. So it helps decision making. That's just this essence. Helps decision making very, very well. You go to a lot of government environment, you see a lot of equipment that are purchased and the equipment are abandoned. Take, for instance, the case study is INEC. They are thinking of, they want to try a technology. The technology has not been approved by National Assembly. And they are hoping that, the laws, they've gone ahead because, one, they want to, some people around them too want to make money out of it. So they've gone ahead. And National Assembly now said, this thing is not in the Constitution, but the product has been purchased. Now, they can't use it again. That money is wasted. And this is 50% here we are capturing here is whatever amount we are talking about, either in Naira or in dollars, or whatever gross in terms of the project budget we are looking at. So like he said, another keyword he said, you have to stop immediately. That's just what this case study is asking us to do. I hope we are clear with that.
Yes.
So let's look at another aspect. We have talked about business education. We have talked about organization. So let's look at quality. Because we are looking at, now we have agreed with the business assessment. We have agreed that it must suit business education. Now we're looking at quality. What is quality? It's just what you and I know as quality. As in something that is of valuable. So also our acceptance criteria is also mentioned here. Earlier the scenario we saw of the MasterCard, Visa card, American Express being used there now. Now, what is quality in that scenario? If you are using a gateway that is not seamless and is not proper, what quality assurance is that given? I'll give you a scenario now. I was to receive a payment from some student from America 2 weeks ago, and we were using FlutterWave for USD as our payment gateway. FlutterWave did not tell us that. Get this right, too. Most of these companies that just flag advert up and down. You think their functionalities are accurate. They didn't tell us that you need to be verified by the American bank before you can allow to receive money in Nigeria. They are the gateway engine. They are meant to be the one to do the verification. They have even done their own verification because it has been required by CBN. Now, the payments link was created on their platform. Information has been given and sent to customers. Do we need to be finding out whether it's working and sent to customers? And customers will not get a seamless process. Hello?
Hello, I'm kind of lost. I don't know if it's only me or everybody.
Is everybody? We can't hear Mr.
Sorry, sorry, it's everybody. I'm sorry. So I was explaining a scenario for you about emphasis on deep business education and also quality. I said, so we're to get USD payments, and Flutterwave is what we're using. Then they on that system, everything seems okay. But when the customers try to use that payment link to make payments, it did not proceed. It was not successful. Let me use that word. Not successful. I didn't understand. I asked the customer, please do a screenshot of what you're getting and send to us. We sent a mail to Flutterwave today. They did not answer. I called the business person that was attached to me. He did not answer until after 4 days. After 4 days. Now, this had happened probably before now, not through Flutterwave, through the domain that we server we're using. The first attempt was they try to make payments, and they tried to use the site. It was having, like they were doing an update, so the site was down for just few minutes, and every security on the site went down, and because it was coming from another outside Nigeria, the flag was you cannot trust your card on this site. Now we're talking about 7 students on the first section and 2 students at the second section. What does that cost to us? Money. Now, acceptability criteria, which is what we saw earlier on, saying Visa card, not just Visa card or being accepting American Express or MasterCard. It must be functionable. It must be functionable. And that's where the issue of testing will come in later on, because this might be considered a planning period if we're looking at website. But testing must be functionable before. Now, we are saying planning because these are requirements of the sponsors. But we are the users. We are the users. Are we supposed to experience that? We're not supposed to experience that. And then both we and our own end users, and business value was not being guaranteed. So I just painted that scenario so we can understand, as a Scrum Master, where quality is needed. And then website is what we're using here now. Well, the other products they'll be considered also. So quality is defined as the ability of the completed products or deliverables to meet acceptance criteria, objective components by which a user story functionality is judged and achieve business value expected by the customer. So we have to use another alternative to receive the funds. Now, for every payment of that amount, Flutterwave charged 3.8%. So for the payment that was lost, $15 was lost for each person because we did not use them. So you can understand the danger in this when these are not being met. And if you take it out of Scrum, also like issue of Coca-Cola, those days that people used to sue Coca-Cola for finding residues of debt in the liquid. At the end of the day, they go to court, the customer requests for damages, and the company has to pay. And when you look at whatever the company is paying, it's a token from each bottle. Even though they may have a way of covering up in terms of valuing it in their budget, say, okay, we'll have lost. Let this be our budget of loss. But that loss also, if we have anybody that is doing accounting here, must not be always something that is being projected. Okay, we should always have lost. There should be a way that the loss should not be affect the main income in terms of ROI. So to ensure that a project meets quality requirements, Scrum adopt an approach of continuous improvement. whereby the team learns from experience and stakeholders engagement to constantly keep prioritized product backlog updated with any change. Now, I did not let the student know that it was Flutterwave issue. I can't even explain that. That okay, despite we run it, we are in a country where foreigners don't even trust to pay us in foreign currency. They think that we are running a business. They don't know us, so they feel we could be Yahoo that just created a website in the name of selling Scrum Master or selling the certification of ISO, and then that kind of instance. At least you guys know this about the country. Now, we did not get back to them to tell them Flutterwave's issue. You have to just say, sorry, send us the screenshot, we can note this, and then instantly alternative was created, instantly, so that we can gain trust. And as soon as that process was done, our partner in US, who is helping us to get those students, gave us more students. So you can understand this implication of all these things. So the prioritized product backlog is simply never complete on the closure or never complete until the closure or termination of projects. Since Scrum requires work to be completed in incremental during sprint, this means that error or defect get noticed earlier through repetitive quality testing, rather than final product or service is near completion. Under scenario, someone, I think I think at Andela, that's what they do. They get job abroad, they get Nigerians to work on it, and then they train Nigerians for free. I mean, those that come out with 2-1 from university, and then they pay them stipend for the jobs being done abroad. Now they use Scrum methodology to manage the process. Now there's a guy, I know him, he wanted to do what Andela is doing. He did not go through that process. He was just getting people from Nigeria, and then he was paying them stipend. At the end of the day, NEPA will be an issue, data will be an issue. At the end of the day, all this to the end user, who is the project sponsor. What's their business? How would they, what would an American man that does not even been to Nigeria, we need to know about the epileptic power supply in Nigeria, or to say, oh, there is no effective internet supply in Nigeria. What's his business? Oh, Mr. Man, you can develop an app. That's what he's interested in. What platform can you use? That's what he's interested in. And he move on. He doesn't want to know we have issues. Right now, since morning, we are not on power, we are not on electricity, we're using inverter, solar. So we don't need to give you an instant excuse that, oh, this is not available. Do you get it? We need to understand. So that part also affects job when we don't consider this methodology of Scrum. So you see why quality is needed. Important quality-related tasks, e.g. development, testing, and documentation, are completed as part of the same sprint by the same team. This ensures that quality is inherent in any done deliverable created as part of a sprint. Constant discussion between Scrum core team and stakeholder, Scrum core team, product owner, Scrum Master, and Scrum Team, and stakeholder, with actual increment of products being delivered at the end of every sprint, ensures the gap between customer expectation from the project and actual deliverables produced is constantly reduced. Now, I'll say to you, the scenario of Flutterwave, not only Flutterwave, we have companies abroad too. So, all these are generic. It's not about Nigeria alone. They too, they have issues abroad. But we are talking about having that consciousness that once a customer sign up to your site and the customer is expecting to use a particular feature functionality that is there, the customer should not experience so much of downtime, even though it's going to happen. So much of downtime. I remember when we were developing when we were in new site, usually most developers used to, sorry, maintenance is ongoing, maintenance is ongoing. I said to guy, customers don't like that statement. It's not becoming looking as if that the site is not active. I just saw something online made by Facebook. That I was surprised. So Facebook too have had issue of renewing their page. Probably let me just say their site, their page, and they said, sorry, this functionality will not be available at this time, and they gave a duration. That's what we used. And he did not know. I didn't read computer science. So the guy read computer science. He didn't know that such statement puts what? Peace in the heart of customers. Now we're talking about value. Even when the customer is about to use your site, you have told him that, oh, this functionality is not available. Within the next 24 hours, it will be available. That customer will come back to that site. Am I not right? Hello?
Yes,
Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, you are right.
So that's why we're looking at all these instances like this being inculcated. So you as a Scrum Master, these are the artifacts, the events you have to protect. Developers will go ahead. And that's why I said in the beginning, it is acceptance criteria that helps to guarantee quality. And guarantee quality most times at planning time. When it gets to implementation, when we still get implementation, you will see more of this, the way it's being done, in terms of when it is done and when it's created. Now, this is another technique that guarantees quality. It's called plan, do, check, act cycle. Now, this is just it's not really a Scrum thing, but it's also a strategy thing, management thing that is being allowed. You can use it for anything. So what is plan? In your plan will be your create, prioritize, put a backlog, create user stories. That is your plan. What is your do? Create deliverables, conduct daily stand-up meeting. Now, what all these are just process of assuring quality. Quality, you know, you have considered what you create here as prioritize, put a backlog in terms of your requirements. You have considered what you create here as your user story. Now, this one is what you now do here in your create deliverables in accordance with this. And in your daily stand-up meeting, you also discuss quality also. And what is checked? This is like an evaluation. Demonstrate and validate sprint. Now, what we do here is whatever we have created here, we have to evaluate it with acceptance criteria and check with the product owner if we are okay. What are we doing at our retrospect sprint? Whatever we have gone through in this process all together, we are considering that, oh, during this process, these are our challenges. Just as scenario I mentioned to you, scenario of Flutterwave now. Do you expect us to go through Flutterwave again? No. It's the one that has worked will continue. So we have learned that we don't need to go through this process. We have contacted them. We have told them this. They've told us they will get back to us in 48 hours. They've not yet gotten back to us. So they don't need our money. So we have moved ahead with what has worked for us. And we have gone ahead until we change address from Nigeria. So we'll now say what we have learned within this sprint. So we have taken note of that, and we're saying that with what we have learned within this sprint, don't let it occur again. Now, how do we do that? We document it. Why are we documenting it? Take for instance, the persons that participated in this process are no more alive. Another person is coming to take it. Which should the person go through that same process again? No. The person should be aware that this process, there was an issue, and this is a new method to it that has worked. So that is what is noted at our retrospect sprint. Then we ship our deliverables. That's our hacks. So this it's very, very simple way, plan, do, check, act. So check here just like an evaluation, and act is your final work. So which of the following is the objective component by which user story functionality is judged? Bumi?
Yes.
You just mention the letter, so they can just, is it A, B, or C, D?
Customer quality expectations.
No, you're not right. Mr. Shola?
Acceptance criteria.
Acceptance criteria. Can you please explain?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello?
Can you please explain?
From what we have been discussing on this quality, you can only say quality is met when the end product meet up with the acceptance criteria. And what is acceptance criteria? It is the component that is designed based on what user story is all about.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
When you look at that,
okay, sorry to cut you off.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
That's what I want to my summary.
Okay. So are we good, everyone?
Yes, please.
Yeah. When will a product owner accept a deliverables? Henry.
Yes.
Is that Bobby talking?
I'll say A.
I didn't hear you, please.
I said I'll say A. After they verify the acceptance criteria.
Yes, after verifying the acceptable deliverables with the acceptance criteria. So let's move on to change. We've been talking about change, approve of change, who manage change. So let's talk about change now as part, as one of the Scrum aspects also. So what is change? I think we've mentioned that earlier that is inevitable. Customers must sometimes do not have an assurance or assured of what they want or what they, at any time they can come with any request. So change is a process of managing what customer wants. So every project, regardless of its method or framework used, is exposed to change. Every project, every product is exposed to change. It is imperative that project team members understand the Scrum development process are designed to embrace change. Embrace change. Traditional project management does not embrace change. Scrum embrace change. Organizations should try to minimize the benefits that arise from change and minimize any negative impact through diligent change management process in accordance with the principles of Scrum. Now, stakeholders change their mind, I said this earlier, about what they want and need through a project, or sometimes referred as Scrum, requirement on John. It is very difficult, if not possible, for stakeholders to define all requirements during the project initiation. Now, Scrum projects welcomes change by using short iterative sprints. Short iterative sprints. Iterative is something that does not have an end. Iterative sprint that incorporate customer feedback in each sprint deliverables. What is iterative sprint? Meaning that you commence the process and you do not end the process. So process A does not end. It continues from process B. Process B does not end. It continues to process C. So it means that we can have change within those processes, like that. It enables the customers to regularly interact with the Scrum team members, view deliverables as they are ready, and change requirement is needed earlier in the sprint. Now I can look at this now, although. So change can be, first of all, come from the stakeholders and will be approved by the entire stakeholders. And let me just go straight to this because this is more clear. Now look at this now. These are different requirements for change. Change 1, change 2, change 3, change 4, change 5, change 6, change 7. Now, they are not approved. When they are approved, we only find change 2, change 4, change 5. Now, these changes now are related to what? User story 1, user story 2, user story 3, user story 4, user story 5. Now, they have become updated in the here they are in the, these are the user story for the product backlog. You remember when I was showing you Epic, and I was showing Epic 1, Epic 2, and I was showing you user story 1, user story 2. That means what I'm showing to you is that this might be that request that says that, oh, David must be able to have a login details and store information on the site. This might be David should be able to have to order and keep his order for next time. Does not need to come and be starting all over again. This might be, oh, David should be able to use payment gateway. Different tasks are the one we have the user story 1, user story 2. Now, the change become updated related to each of these user stories. That's why I see user story 1. The change request for user story 1 is user story 1 is change 2. While the change for user story 2 and 3 is change 4. Now, this is just kept in the user in the prioritized backlog. One cliche I will let you know, because in Scrum, change is not entirely implemented instantly. If it is so much important, I mean, if there's an urgent change within this user story 1, if this change is urgent, the entire sprint will have to start all over again. If not, if it's not important, the change will be carried over. So that we have it as updated prioritized backlog change here is just for us to know that it is documented against it's documented in the prioritized backlog. I mean, whatever change that is being, just like I told you earlier, that in the retrospect sprint, you still document your learning outcome. So change 2 is documented, but the development team, you know, the prioritized backlog is managed by the product owner. Development team may not decide to start implementing this change. Now we need to now find out if this change is urgent. So let's assume this is an urgent change. This whole process will start all over again. I mean, the development for user story 1, user story 2, user story 3 will start all over again. And the sprint is starting all over again. So Scrum maintains flexibility that in that change request can be created and approved at any time during the sprint. That's why I said that story. So you can know that this statement is right, but that other one is right, but that's continuity to that word, this statement. Scrum ensures that stability is maintained by keeping sprint backlog fixed and by not allowing interference with the Scrum team during the sprints. You can see now, all requirements related to ongoing sprint are frozen during the sprints. No change is introduced until the sprint ends. unless a change is deemed to be significantly enough to stop the sprint. In the case of urgent change, the sprint is terminated and the team meets to plan a new sprint. This is how Scrum accepts changes without creating the problem of changing release dates. You know, it's been said that we are going to use 1 to 6 weeks. The date will not change until we have confirmed that probably we cannot meet up to the dates. It will not change, but within that period of that window, we can always make adjustments. So that's why you see here now, this is an external environment that can introduce change. This external environment might be at the cost of COVID-19, can be at the cost of war in Russia, can be at the cost of whatever may not occur, God forbid, any trouble again in the world. Then this is the stakeholder, the product owner is here, the Scrum team is here. Now, the change request is requested, change is requested, and they're asking the product owner, is it urgent? He says urgent. He says cancel sprint and restart the sprint planning. It's not urgent, do nothing. Change will be made in the future sprint. So let's ask ourselves a question. Who is responsible for ensuring that requirements and user story pertaining to an agreed sprint are not changed? Henry.
The product owner.
You are wrong. Ahmed.
Sir.
Who is responsible for ensuring that requirements and user story pertaining to an agreed sprint are not changed?
The Scrum Master.
Yeah. Why, please? Can you explain?
Okay. If it's me, I'll think, okay, the Scrum Master is the one handling all the projects. So if maybe by virtue of all the business justification he has done from the beginning of the project, if it meets the business justification and maybe there's a request to change, he has to contact the sponsor to know whether it needs to be changed or not. So if maybe, I think it's even the sponsor. I'll say it's the sponsor. My answer should be the sponsor.
I'll ask everybody this question. And if nobody gets it, I can start all over again. Oh. I can start all over again.
My option is Scrum Master, because the Scrum Master is the one in charge of the of the project, and it's acting like the project manager of, if you want to look at the traditional way. So the Scrum Master is responsible. He led his Scrum team, and it is him that will make sure that once there is a user story pertaining a particular sprint and it continues, it will not entertain changes. If not, the product will not, the project will not be completed. There will be problem. So once we are on the sprint and the user story pertaining to this thing is met, there is no, you can't just tolerate changes like that. So my answer is Scrum Master, because he's the one in charge of the project.
Bumi, I want to hear you too. Is she there? Okay.
It's muted. I don't know.
Bumi, are you here? Okay, you are shy. Is the Scrum Master? Mr. Shola is right. Ahmed, you are right, but you are not sure. You went to sponsor. Now, the Scrum Master protect the team against, I've said to you, they are intangible, they are what we call impediments. It could be intangible, it could be tangible. Change requests, just like Mr. Shola explained, coming at interval. You are starting a project. Somebody come today and say, oh, what I told you yesterday is wrong. Let's start from this way. What I told you yesterday is wrong. Tomorrow, let's start this way. The team will be disoriented. And the team will not even, whatever they've gotten initially, they won't even, because the day you are not even coming, they were expecting you to come. So the Scrum Master is the project manager. His job is to make sure the Scrum team are motivated, the Scrum team are well facilitated, the environment is conducive. So this change request is also can affect, because said an agreed sprint has started, and whatever user story pertaining to that place, the change requirement, that's why we learned on how the process of change is being conducted, which says that if the change is urgent, the sprint start all over again. Do you get it? The sprint start all over again. Do you get what I'm saying now? The sprint start all over again. If it's not urgent, it continues in future. So the Scrum Master that makes sure that the development team will not be disoriented. Please try to understand the duty of a Scrum Master. The reason why we're talking about this story in this material is to us to understand the power and the roles of a Scrum Master, because that is what you are going to be demonstrating. Is it clear? Hello? I will see another scenario, please. I need us to, thank God it's being recorded. We'll share this recording. We'll share it. Today I'll share the recording so that we can always listen to it and follow through later on. I can see the justification here. It is the responsibility of the Scrum Master to ensure that once user story for a sprint are committed to, that's why I use that scenario to you, that you are going to have agreed that, oh, we are creating URL, domain name, in the first user story. Or we are creating a payment gateway in the first user story. Those are not changed. Sorry, are committed. Those are not changed. So the Scrum Master is responsible for that. Which of the following statements on integrating change requests in priority backlog is incorrect? Henry. Mr. Shola, are you there?
Yes.
You want to try?
Okay, I was just trying to read that from the balancing flexibility and stability concerning change in Scrum. It says Scrum maintains flexibility that change requests can be created and approved at any time during the project. I'm confused as the options. Which of the following statement on integrating change requests in prioritizing product backlog is incorrect? If a project requirements are generally stable, there are typically only minor change made to the prioritized product backlog throughout development. That's statement is It's correct. I think so. Before beginning a sprint during the create prioritize product backlog or group prioritize product backlog process as product priority requirements in the prioritized product backlog are typically selected to be completed in that sprint. Change management is executed in the ongoing process of prioritizing and adding tasks to the prioritized product backlog. Which of the following statements of integrating change requests in prioritizing product backlogs is incorrect? The options are confusing, sir. I know this A is not true. I know this A is not true. Hello, Mr. Is Mr. Alekon there?
I'm here. I'm here.
I think I'll go with B because said before beginning a sprint during the create prioritized product backlog, group prioritized product backlog process, the highest priority requirements in the prioritized product backlog are typically selected to be completed in that sprint. I think I'll go with B. That's not correct.
It's not correct. Before beginning in a sprint during the create prioritized backlog or group prioritized backlog process sees the highest prioritized backlog in the product backlog are typically selected to be completed in the sprint. Is Ahmed there? Let me just do this so that we can move on. None of the above is incorrect. So all the above is correct. Abi? I don't understand English. Though.
Which of the following statement is incorrect? On integrating change requests in prioritized product backlog is incorrect? And he said the answer is none of the above.
Yes.
This A, if a product requirement are generally stable, there are typically only minor changes made to the prioritized product backlog throughout development.
That's correct.
Okay, it's true, it's correct.
Change management is executed in an ongoing process of prioritizing and adding tasks to a prioritized product backlog. That statement is correct. Before beginning a sprint, during the create prioritized product backlog or group prioritized product backlog process, the highest priority requirement in the prioritized backlog are typically selected to be completed in that sprint. That's correct.
Okay,
we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I said the B, does it refer to the illustration you gave about the project?
I didn't hear.
Does it define the illustration you gave us about that government road project?
Yes, that the one that has the highest value.
Yes, yes.
The 1 kilometer.
Yes, yes.
That'll be that first one to be completed. To get it.
So that B explains it. Okay.
Yeah, that B explains that. So it just says to be sure that you understand change in the process of in Scrum. That's why this question is concurrent to just destabilize one's learning. I want to ask a question. Is it the way I'm teaching, or is it because it's strange? Are we getting it? So, because if we're not getting the concept clearly, we'll have a challenge preparing for exam.
No, for me, it's fine. What I need to do more from my own perspective is I need to study more and also do some maybe case scenario, because it is a function of the more you read it on yourself, the more you get used to the concept. So the lecturing method is fine, sincerely. I'm getting it.
I think it's fine. I think it's fine too. I mean, it's communicative, and the fact that we have to ask questions immediately after every topic, I think that's the best. We will definitely get it. It's not we're not going to get everything in just this particular training. No, there's no way. It's too broad.
I don't want us to. I like to get feedback. if there'll be a way for us, if there's a particular way you want to hear it, I can incorporate that. It's not going to be seen as, oh, being criticism. No, you are supposed to get the best out of this. That's the essence of
I feel it's our job as well to ask questions when needed, when we don't understand. So so far, I think it's going well.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Harry is correct.
Mr. Bumi, is that okay? Ahmed, you can also speak.
Yeah.
Is Ahmed here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's what's this one saying? If you are using Scrum, is your product owner empowered to make business decisions? So can anyone answer this? Bumi, can you answer this? If you're using Scrum, is your product owner empowered to make this business decision based on the understanding of the role of the product owner? You can say whatever you have. Don't hold it back.
I think yes.
Yes, because it's the voice of the customer. So the product owner decision making not only on its own, is making on behalf of the stakeholders. So let's look at risks. Please, I will share the video. You can listen to it. There's also a video on your dashboard. Although it's computerized, someone just talking, and you can ask questions. Please, for learning purpose, like Mr. Shola said, you learn more on what you and how on hearing the same thing at the same time, so that because about the concept, there's nothing in Scrum, just understanding the concept. Once you understand the concept, when you see scenarios, you can respond to it. And I'll tell you, if you're able to join the Clubhouse link that I shared to you, most of those discussions are related into concept too. Even for those that are already 5 years, 6 years practicing Scrum. So there's still learning process ongoing. So try to keep hearing, and that's why most of these things can sink in. That's why I try to say that first and foremost, like risks we have here, there's no definition outside risk than what it is. But how to use risks in Scrum, that is what is different. Risks is risks. Risks is risks. Risk is seen as expected danger, not exactly danger. So it's the same thing as that statement. But how we will avoid it in Scrum? It's the same way we have it in project management. How do we have it in Scrum is what we're going to be talking about here. So it's defined as uncertain events, set of events that can affect objectives of the project and may contribute to its failure, its success or failure. So risk can be positive, can also be negative. When it is positive, it's an opportunity. When it's negative, it's a threat. Are you not surprised that risk is an opportunity? Can anybody say that, explain how risk can become an opportunity? In any scenario, not necessarily project scenario. Do I need to call a name? I mean anybody.
Okay, like I use a SWOT analysis more. So if I want to adopt like the method of SWOT, if I'm able to understand my strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. So if I'm able to look at my threats, my opportunity, then an ability to profile solution to them, it will help. Like when you want to look at risk now, you consider your opportunity and threat. So sometimes those things that are negative, they could be very constructive in helping you to have a very good, what's it called, project completion. So risk risk can also be, what's it called, an opportunity. I'm just looking at it from SWOT analysis perspective.
Now, I have a question. Henry, you mentioned the road construction scenario. What is the opportunity in discovering that we cannot complete the expected kilometers of road? This is what we can complete. We'll find out that we don't have the finance to complete the expected kilometers of road, and this is what we can complete. What is the opportunity there?
I think the opportunity there will be discovering on time. When you discover on time, you make the most of what you have to deliver value for the amount you have. So instead of you stretching yourself beyond limits and wasting more time, what you have, you streamline it to deliver value within that budget. I think that will be the benefit.
Yes, you're right. And also, it's an opportunity for you to go and to know that you have known your strengths, and you can work on the area that you are unable to do, and just focus on the one you can do. So that discovery that, oh, we can't complete this may seem as risks. That, what is this? Is it we're going to be saying that we are not doing well? But no, it makes us to do better. So when we're looking at risks, we're looking at two factors in risks: the probability of occurrence and the probable impacts in the occurrence of events. The probability of occurrence and the probable impact. Probability of occurrence are before the occurrence. And probable impacts. Oh, if you do not like I think the one I can relate to it is the building collapse in Ikoyi. There was a speculation to the developers that the building will collapse. That's the probability of occurrence. I can't remember the factors that was being put together. If you can help us here, you can help us here. But the probable impact is that, oh, if this and this happened, we'll have a building collapse. That means there was a discussion before the collapse of the building. And I heard that developers look away. So that is what we're looking at: probability of occurrence and the probable impacts. Now, this also is measured and prioritized per user story. Now, what are we talking about? For instance, Mr. Shola can relate to this. Funds is not being appropriated properly during budget defense in terms of actual amount to be put into this project. We didn't get the proper appropriation for it. Either we're given less, so we're given less of what is expected of it. Now, on that project, that less amount that was missing out, maybe that less amount is against a particular project. Because when you're defending budget, a budget defense is in accordance to all projects within that agency. Am I not right, Mr. Shola? Mr. Shola?
Yeah, correct, sir.
Yeah, all projects. Now, that particular amount that is taken away may be related to that particular project. Now, we're not saying that. We have to now, in us, but that's why I let us to focus on that opportunity. In us to now say, how do we manage the risks of that amount not given? We now have to say risks with high probability and high impact rating should be addressed before those of the lower rating. So it means that when you find out that that project is so important in the entire process of project cycle or project development for that agency, that particular project is so important. Take, for instance, let's assume what was deducted was from the salary of the civil servants. When salary is not paid, what is next to see? What they call these people? Labor will go on strike. Can you do anything within that ministry? Nothing will be done. That means that risk that is being seen as a probable occurrence is carrying high probability. So what is the probable impact rating? What the impact rating is that civil servants will not be motivated, labor will go on strike, work will shut down, the entire project will shut down. Then before you know it, by the time they are coming back on strike, maybe economic rating can come in, like the way we have dollar exchanging rate within Nigeria now. Are you getting my scenario now? I'm trying to paint a scenario for you. I hope you understood. Huh?
Yes, yes.
So once risk is identified, it is important to understand the basic aspect of risk with regards to the possible causes. Once risk is identified, it is important to understand the basic aspect of the risk with regards to the possible causes, the area of uncertainties, and the potential impact if the risks occur. Once risk is identified, it is important to understand the basic aspect of the risk with regards to possible causes, the area of uncertainties, and the potential impact if the risks occur. So, risks are future uncertainties and have no current impact on the project. I hope you hear that. They are future, they are not happening, but could have potential impact on the future. How? If they are not managed, they are not mitigated. Then it becomes what? Issues. I've said two things now. The difference between risk and issue is what I just said now. Once risks are not managed, being seen as, oh, this thing can become this, oh, and we are not creating a mitigation plan that when it occurs, this is what you should do. Lock your door before you go to bed. What is the risk there? There are danger. Anybody, stranger can come into your house when your door is open ajar. Now, you refuse to lock your door, and there's a lock there, and the danger, the thief has come in. It's already an issue. You can't go back and lock your door and say, hey, thief, go outside, and you now start locking your door. You are already in the issue already. So the risk is, you are aware that, oh, if the lock is not done, the danger is the thief will enter. So lock your door. Issues are generally well-defined certainties that are currently happening on the project. So there is no need for conducting a potential assessment as we would for a risk. Issues must be dealt with immediately. Risk is if not addressed on time, may become issues. The goal of risk management is to be prepared with plan in place to deal with any risks that may occur. So look at the two now, examples of risks. And we're giving scenarios here, but these are examples given by the book. Even after extensive training, the customer service representative might not be ready to take order on the go-live dates. Even after training, the customer service representative may not be ready. Think, for instance, you are building an e-commerce site. I think, Bumi, you can relate to this now. Restaurants, Bumi?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what happens when you create a site and then you guys are not ready to give order? And then you say we should make order on your site. Do you get that now? Is that not so? So,
Yeah.
the painting crew might be delayed due to heavy rain, which could negatively impact the project schedule. So it's going to rain, and we've known that it's going to rain. It means that we cannot paint, because if we paint, it will wash off. So we have known that ahead. The weather man has told us ahead. Then the issue of customer service training, that they didn't understand the training very, very well. So you know that if you go live date, they cannot support whatever order that is coming in. Cannot support the order that is coming in. So you get that now. So it means that customer service training in the first example must be appropriate and they must be able to get it before you do go live dates, before you launch to the orders to come in. So what is the issue? Funding is not approved. It's not approved. Not that they are expecting it to. It's not approved. Project cannot occur. That is an issue already. Requirement, what we all went to school. When daddy say no money, when mommy say no money, and you can't go do anything now. So requirements are unclear. Requirements are unclear. We are in the exam hall. We are reading questions, and we don't understand what the question is saying. We don't understand Yoruba yet. Not everybody understands Yoruba yet. There's this adage in Yoruba that you look at the sky and you look at the ceiling, that the answer is not in the ceiling, no. So you will do exam, we look at the exam question, we don't understand the question. We cannot, where will the answer come in? We know that is a zero already, except a giraffe. So I think we have questions after this. Okay. Now, these are methods, procedures of managing risks. We're going to discuss each of these one by one. This is identify risks, assess risks, prioritize risks, mitigate risks. What becomes so generic to all is communication. When you identify risks, you communicate it. When you assess it, you communicate it. When you prioritize it, you communicate it. When you mitigate it, you communicate it. So let's move on. So identification. The Scrum team members should attempt to identify all risks that could be potentially impact the project. Potentially impact the project. Risks identification is done through the projects, and identify risks becomes input in the Scrum process. Did you note? Okay, we did Scrum process, right? Okay, no, we've not done Scrum process. We've only done Scrum principles. In our Scrum process Scrum process, we're going to note this input area. So just hold on. But we're saying that first and foremost, based on probable impact and possibility of impact, identify the risks. What is the risks that may occur? You have noted it down. Assessment. Now you're not doing assessment based on risks. What is the assessment going to look like? This risk now, what is the high level rate of impact that it will bring in? Like the issue I demonstrate to you, you've identified that, the construction in Koyi, probably the mixture of cement was not properly done. And the site engineer is saying, you guys mix this cement well, mix it well, he's talking and shouting, mix it well. Because of what? He knows that if you don't mix it well, the rubble will collapse. I'm sorry, the building will collapse. That's just my assumption. I'm not saying that's what happened in Koyi. We collapse. Now, he's putting it down and he's doing an assessment. Okay, if this thing is not done well, this is what will happen. Now, all this will be documented so that future occurrence of the scenario of that project, we will know that, okay, if you are doing a building construction within that same site or that location, you need to mix the cement properly. The assessment of risk helps in understanding the potential impact of the risk, how likely it is to occur, and when the risk could materialize. The overall effect on business value should be estimated. The overall effect of business value should be estimated. If that impact is significant enough to outweigh the business justification, a decision must be made whether to continue the project. The assessment of the risk is done with regards to probability, proximity, and impact. I hope you are looking at series of scenarios, even within your home, that are within this range in us understanding risks. Probability of risks refers to likelihood of risks occurring when they say put the cylinder outside the house. It means that once there's a fire incident, you can reduce the combustion of fire mixing with gas because it's far from it. Proximity refers to when the risk might occur. Impact refers to probable effect of the risk on the project or organization. Risk assessment also evaluate potential net effect of risk on the project or organization. Now, there is no technique to this. What we are saying that whatever risk that has been identified, we've talked about in example money, we've talked about unclear requirements. They don't need to be measured with any technique. It's just to look at it based on business value. Now, if you do not read before you write the exam and you get to class, a particular question is not clear to you, what does that say? You're going to fail, or maybe that particular unit is so daring that if you miss it, you're going to have a carryover. And maybe this is a final year. So what does carryover say to final year? Extra year. So what is the probable impact rate? You're going to spend more money. You're going to spend more time. So you are aware of this even before you take the exam. That I need to read. If I want to be talking to you guys here as young people, that I know you are adults, you know the amount we pay for this class. You know that to pass the exam is so necessary. And you also know to own the course, understand is also necessary for future reasons. I'm sorry, my statement is not meant to hurt us. It's just to create an humor. I hope we're able to smile a bit. Hello? If it's a physical class, I'll see your faces. So nobody's talking.
No,
Yes, sir.
we are following.
We are with
Okay.
you, sir.
Yeah.
So let's look at what the next slide says. Oh, so prioritization. Now we have identified risks. We have assessed the risks. We have assessed it. We have looked at the high rate risks, low rate risks. Now we want to prioritize this. What are we doing in prioritizing? Identified risks are taken into account when creating an updated prioritized product backlog. A prioritized product backlog could also be referred as risk adjustment pattern. You see another scenario like that change we saw earlier, that diagram. Prioritized user story from the existing prioritized product backlog and the prioritized list of risks are combined to create updated prioritized product backlog, which include the identified risks. Step in updating prioritized product backlog with identified risks. Create a list of prioritized risks. E.g., risks can be prioritized by value using the expected monetary value technique.